Day 2 of the Adamant Cup round of 32. We have 8 matches tonight, and one of them that we are featuring at this very moment is the start of our best of 3 between Engidave and Xyrak. My name is CS Radical. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Free Enterprise Twitch channel as we get another fantastic match here for you guys. Just letting you guys know ahead of time, our restream team, S-Grunt, doing all the crazy tech stuff that I just don't understand here. Bardic Panda doing the tracker, and of course, in the booth next to me, J-Mac the Librarian. How are you doing on this fine evening?
Oh, I am great. I'm ready to watch some fantastic running for Free Enterprise. These bracket seeds are no joke. And it really does look like we are going to go all over the map looking at these objectives tonight.
Yeah, and obviously, for those unaware, the bracket stages do have a few changes. There's some notable ones for sure. The one that stands out to me, honestly, you know, some people might be looking at, oh, no Cecil and Fusoya, that's a big one. I'm more just looking at everything selling for a quarter price, and I'm just, there's a twitch in my eye right now just staring at that.
Yeah, that sell for a quarter definitely means that our runners are going to loot probably a little more than we saw in the group stage. And also they're going to be very picky about what they're going to end up buying and probably save a lot of that money for those needed J items once they get underground.
Absolutely, and especially when you have to think about too, max tier 6 for the trap chest, you're not going to get too many crazy things as well. T-Pro as well. It's going to be a hunt for just every little thing that you can get, and we'll just see how it goes here. And with the objectives as well, you know, you got to think about giant, but you're going to also be looking out for a lot of small items. You know, you got Pinktail, which will not get you adamant armor either, I believe. So, you know, every little thing you can find a chest is really going to count here.
Yes, and it looks like we need 7, if I'm counting correctly, 7 key items. Every objective requires a different key item this go around. So and we're going to see the giant, we're going to see a hook route, regardless of if it's forced hook or not, and a little bit of overworld, and no moon objectives, though, except for the giant. So we don't necessarily have to go to the moon, and maybe we end up avoiding it. Who knows?
And we'll see. It really all depends on how our runners set up. I mean, you're going to have a situation where you maybe look down the barrel of 6 checks thinking, well, I got to find one of the things I need. So depending on how the overworld shapes out, depending on how the underground shapes out, especially when you don't even have to do any of the Town of Monsters bosses. So there's going to be a lot of deviations potentially here, and a lot of risk taking if you really want to see if you can get a heads up start on somebody. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. Especially, you know, with just it being my first bracket seat, so I get to see just how interesting these flags are going to end up treating us.
Oh, yes. And with this Palom start, and we are matching with a Yang. Not exactly the DPS character you want to find. And that Val gating the Baron Throne, at least we know where she is.
Yeah, and, you know, you get the package early, which, you know, you don't need, but, you know, depending on what your party members are going to be, whether what you find at Hobbs or, you know, if you're lucky, you find another possibility somewhere. It's going to be real interesting to see if anybody just quickly checks that package to see if there's anything of use there.
I'm going to say that's going to be a pretty quick check, just because, you know, who are we looking for? An edge? There's always the possibility of that edge. Early game especially would really help. So yeah, I would pretty much go straight there after looking for this free key item that Bedward's about to give us.
Yeah, unless you want to take a quick pop at Hobbs and just see what's hanging out there, but otherwise, you're probably going to quickly see what's coming there.
Well, that is an edge shirt. Or I guess you could put the black belt on on Yang, you know, if you really want to keep him. We'll see. We'll see what our runners decide.
It does help the punch mage punch, so I suppose it works.
So we do see both of our runners headed straight for the public treasury. Something that we have seen looted a lot, especially with this free key item. The public treasury doesn't give like fantastic items, but it'll give a pretty solid start, and that's what we kind of see here.
Yeah, you happen to find a couple of items that might help you. I mean, a Lilith Rod, at least it gives Palom something to start with. You know, if you find somebody, you at least have an Elven Bow to go. with. So not a great pickup, but I mean, it's free. So, you know, are you really going to complain that much?
No, definitely not. We do also see both of our runners headed straight in to do some shopping. Early game shopping, especially items, has been something that a lot of our runners that we've seen a lot of them do in group stages as well as yesterday in brackets, just in terms of finding those early items, especially camping gear, to go ahead and get that in your inventory for the later game.
Yeah, and especially when, in this case, with, you know, these two shops here, you're probably not coming this way for a while, so it's best to get a good sense of what's here. So if you really need something desperately and you just can't afford it now, but at least if you know where it is, it's going to save you a lot less time. Also noticing weapon and armor shop checks too, which is not as common in the group stages. We're going to probably see them a lot more in the bracket stages because of how just scarce a lot of loot's going to be here.
Yes, and we do see one of the major bosses peek her head out early, the Troya lady, causing damage and frustration on Dave's side.
I mean, it's not number damage. It's more just, you know, mental damage that you take with you for the rest of the seed.
Well, and we do see Engidave nope right out of that package cane. He said no thank you to Mr. Patently Average. And so we see him going straight to launch the hovercraft and probably, loot the Damsian basement as well.
And then Xyrak finding a lovely plague and noping out of that. Even with, you know, Tella being a pretty useful character, you might not want to do it with a relative lack of damage right now. Because, yeah, Plague's one of those bosses, it won't hit you. You're still going to die, though.
Yeah, he is very fast, especially in that spot, is what I've learned here recently.
And now with that knowledge in mind, Xyrak's looking at that cane being like, I think I need you. Oh, no, changed his mind. Must have thought about it and then went, maybe I'll see what's still hanging around.
Okay, so Xyrak has decided no to Hobbs, no to package, going to Fabul. Nope, we're not going to Fabul. Headed to Antlion.
We're definitely going to be seeing how this shapes out with our runners in their first competitive bracket seed here. I mean, I'm sure a lot of them have been doing all the asyncs, trying to get as much practice in as they can. But now you're in the stage of, okay, now I'm thinking about where my opponent's at. So you start second guessing a lot of stuff. So we're going to see probably some indecisiveness all throughout the race here. And, you know, we'll see if some of them pay off. We'll see if maybe hitting Fabul first would have been the better strategy. But hey, sometimes rando got a rando.
Yeah, and with this early game party, with this Palom and Yang, both of which do need a lot of, I mean, at least a little bit of XP to kind of get online, just in terms of choosing this early game routing, knowing that there's just a Tella on Hobbs. You know, I can see why Xyrak's kind of flailing a little bit in terms of deciding where he wants to go next.
We got Pale Dim sitting in Antlion. It looks like Engidave is going to at least see what he can do with this plague fight.
Well, yeah, they did pick up that Stardust in the public treasury, so Dave is making good use of that J item. And he did try and roll a recall and got the fatal, which doesn't affect plague, but did, you know, high rolled that recall at least.
I mean, you know, I can't imagine why death wouldn't work against basically death. It's
And meanwhile, Xyrak has found the adamant armor buried in the Antlion. I mean, not an adamant armor, adamant rock, y'all. Sorry.
Can you imagine that is the first key item drop in a bracket stage? Woo!
He wishes it was adamant armor. But not a required key item, but a key item nonetheless. So we will definitely see Xyrak walk that out, do a little looting on the way out, and probably my guess would be head to Fabul next, but we will see.
And with the adamant, obviously with Cecil not in the seed, Excalibur is not what's going to be available if you do decide to go turn that in with the Legend Sword. Instead, it'll just be a random 7 to 8 tier item. So it might be something useful potentially, but I get the feeling that unless you're really desperate for loot and just feel like taking a chance, I don't know if we'll see that ever get turned in. So yeah, mostly a key item that you're just thinking, really, that's what I'm starting with? So you're going with Package and Adamant thinking, wow, this is already a great start, isn't it?
Yes. And we are about to go and defend Fabul. And meanwhile, Engidave is slowly making his way through this pale den.
And about to get the relatively bad news as well, while Xyrak goes and sees who is there. Oh, hi, Ashura.
Ugh. Well, the good news is that we had Star Veils in our pregame items, as well as they were for sale in the Troya shop. So we can definitely use these to our advantage against Ashura, and then we know exactly where they are to go buy some more if we need some more.
Yep, so at the very least, you're not sitting there looking at your very small amount of Star Veils going, oh, what if I'm going to need these? No, it's not too much to worry about.
We do have a few levels on our Palom on Xyrak's side already, so he does have some of those second level spells. So hopefully we can output some damage and get through this Ashura pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you can only imagine how much different this fight would have been if Xyrak hadn't hesitated and done this first, because without those tier 2 spells, this would have taken way longer.
Yes, most definitely.
So even though the key item wasn't great out of Antlion Cave, that hesitation actually may have paid off a little bit. Unless Fabul also doesn't give us anything, in which case there's going to be more sighing probably on Xyrak's side.
Oh no. Surely a seed would never just not give us a key item we need.
Well, hey, it's bracket stage. You can't expect to just get the red carpet rolled out for you.
All right. Well, we do see a wipe on Xyrak's side. Even though, this is an early stage or an early spot for a boss, this boss is not easy, especially when you have two characters that really do depend on that experience to be able to really output some damage.
Yeah, and without really much in terms of healing options, I mean, if that Tello, wasn't hidden behind a pretty rude boss, you'd at least have not the greatest white mage, but it'd be a white mage, so it would have been something to help with it. But in this case, no, you're two-stepping this with a party that you're probably not the happiest with at this point, but there are always worse combinations. It's not like we're talking about an Eddie Porum, start or anything.
Yeah. And we did find that Elven Bow in the public treasury as well. Both of our runners did. And so that is a weakness against Ashura. So that is why we see Palom slinging an arrow at Ashura for 600. But this is definitely not shaping up to be as easy of a fight as you would want at the Fabul defense spot.
Now you got to wipe on each side right now, and not a lot of options otherwise. I mean, you can only imagine if this fight's going to be a struggle. The likelihood of getting through Baron Inn or Ordeals might give you some trouble. It really does bring the possibility of maybe you do go back and grab that cane just for an extra body, just in case. But we'll see how our runners deal with this. I mean, I imagine they're still intending to finish this as is. So
yeah, we will see. We do get Xyrak through on his second attempt here, and Palom is going to get a whole slew of spells. Young's going to get a few more levels, and hopefully this gives us a little bit of direction.
Or we get the Legend Sword just for jokes.
Oh, a hook.
I mean, unintentional joke, depending on how that boss route ends up being.
Well, at least that is another character check. So I imagine that we will see our runners going and checking to see if maybe Edge is hiding there, as well as in Baron Inn. We haven't spot checked that character spot yet. And while those bosses tend to be kind of difficult as well in the early game, that could be a potential for a character that we might want to grind to get.
Yeah, I mean, there's always the odd chance that you get really lucky with the bosses you draw in there, but you almost never want them there anyway because that means they're not in other spots, which would probably be more important, like possibly this hook route that you're about to walk into, so...
Well, and if hook routes are anything like they were yesterday, these are going to be pretty gruesome.
Well, thankfully, I'm behind here safely in the booth, so it's not my thing to think about, and I just get to watch the fun unfold. And like you said, going to be checking that Xyrak did at least spawn the hovercraft, but might be, yeah, doing exactly as we thought, checking that Baron in first.
Yes. For a second, I thought he was headed to Eblan and forgot to pick up the hovercraft. But no, I see exactly what he is doing here. And we do have our edge. Just chilling and bearing in with the Dark Elf.
AKA, I'm about to waste 15 seconds right now before you get to one-shot me.
Oh man, gotta love finding these bosses in this 400 HP spot.
Okay, I tell a lie, it was more than one shot. In the meantime, Engidave taking a trip to Ordeals. Maybe the thinking being, you know, maybe there's something a little bit more useful here. He's also maybe thinking I maybe have to do this anyway for leveling. Also, it would unlock Tella with more spells potentially for that plague fight.
Oh, that is a good point. And then going back and getting that Tella after completing this. I didn't think about it like that.
Because, I mean, you walk into that fight, Tella's got tier 3 spells ready to go. You can just, you can brute force your way through that fight.
Yeah, no reason to recall when you have access to all of Tella's spells.
Now you got to assume you can get through the Ordeals fights.
Well, that one was pretty easy.
And we'll see Mylon Z in the second spot in the Baron, where, you know, it's not going to be 400 HP that easy, so we'll see what happens here.
Good news is that Palom also has Fire too, so should be able to output enough damage while Yang is on chemistry duty. But we do get to see something very interesting. I love when we have a back attack Karate Man who we get to see kick around the world.
See, I'm starting to wonder that maybe this is why we call him the Punch Mage, because that is clearly some magic that I just saw.
It makes me giggle every time. I'm sorry, Al. It does. It's so silly.
Well, Mylon was not cooperating in Xyrak's fight, so possibly going to be checking now for that character in Eblan to see if at least can possibly make that fight a little bit better, because, yeah, that edge is going to be something you want. Yeah. So you're working towards that, for sure.
Yep, a quick walk down, it's about 2 minutes, go check this character, as well as look at who the boss is on this hook route. And then you can come out and kind of better prepare, knowing that this is where you're probably headed pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Xyrak now knows everything that's available to him. He knows that he has an edge waiting at Baron if he can get past it. He knows Tella's sitting at Hobbs if he needs an extra mage. So once we see what this character is here, also, that's a pretty nice shop.
Yes, gotta love seeing Bacchus and Hourglasses in the same shop. Now, right now, they're very expensive, but...
Well, and you also got some Star Veils if you got an extra spot. If you want to get a little bit extra shopping done, you got a nice little shop to get a bunch of them done.
So we may see some looting going down this hook route, just to get some more money, especially knowing that the Bacchus and the Hourglasses are in that shop.
Yep. So with that, Engidave gets through the second fight, watches Young's clone, twin brother, whatever you may want to call it, just you know, take a skydiving fall off the bridge. Everything's fine, don't worry about it. And now I'm going to see what's waiting for us in the mirror room, both in boss and in key item form. Hopefully we can see our first objective related key item here.
Now this is an interesting play by Xyrak. Went in the shop, bought a couple things, and then is headed back to Baron Inn without doing that character check first.
And Engidave only being rewarded with a wizard cap. Well, I mean, if you want that tell to be slightly better when you get him, I guess it helps, but I'm sure Palom's just sitting there being like, mine.
Yes, it'll definitely help Palom get online. However, other than the fact that, like, he's going to complete this Ordeals, he's definitely got to go get that Tella now. Otherwise, this is, like, almost not worth it at all.
I also do appreciate Escrunt in the chat reminding me to obligatory go hat as the guy hat representative here.
It's close enough to the same hat, right?
I mean, it's not a helmet. I don't think helmets count, so that's definitely a hat, so we're good.
And of course the Dark Elf pigged Xyrak. So he's got to go back into this fight. That was just an unfortunate pig there.
Well, we can't blame our seed roller on that one. That's just the game being like, no, I am making this difficult for you.
No. Can't blame the seed runner. We cannot blame Escrunt for anything that we see on the screen tonight at all. Nope, no way.
I mean, we'll wait until the elements fight, and then we'll see what we actually think about the role.
Oh yeah, we are just getting started. We are 20 minutes into the seed, and we have to do a hook route, and we have to do a giant. So this is turning out to already be a fun time.
And keep in mind, no matter what happens in the seed, if harp ends up being required, every transgression is completely absolved. So there's lots of time to change everything.
And to answer our question in chat, the Tella is on top of Mount Hobbs, which is where we see Engidave headed back to get his anchor / maybe white mage. Who knows?
Well, at this point, it's going to be Explosion Mage, because that tier 3 spell is about to give Plague a not-so-fun first look. In an alternate universe, Plague was having a much better time. I don't think it's going to have a good one this time around.
Oh yeah. Tella's going to pull out a virus, and that's going to really help kind of eat away Plague's HP. And hopefully we can get through this fight pretty quick.
Yeah, I think it did. You know, just a few couple 500 plus stacks of damage. That does pretty good in the Hobbs spot, right?
Look, it makes all the difference.
And you got an exit now, so hey, you can do some extra treasure raiding without thinking too much about time. So happy trails right now for Engidave.
Ooh, we do get a lot of really great equipment on the backside of Hobbs. That was a Sork robe and a headband, so we've got lots of good stuff for Palom and for Yang.
Yeah, a Sork robe, a bandana, and a change rod too. So that's a pretty decent 3. You've got your Black Mage setup, you've got a little bit of extra punch power now on Yang, so that'll make most things pretty easy, and now we're probably going to see Engidave walk right into that Mylon fight, and kind of, I mean, without knowing what Xyrak's been dealing with, probably laugh at this a little bit.
Yeah, well, with that Tella and a Lilith Rod or a Change Rod, we're going to get him up some stats compared to just base level, so this is going to also be helpful. We do see Xyrak making better, although now Palom is down again, so we will see if we can get through this fight. Yeah, even though the spot is slow, it is very punchy, as we can see.
Yeah, and Mylon really doesn't like waiting, even with that lack of speed. Ooh, and lucky for Xyrak, Mylon didn't decide to be extra mean and be like, oh, what's that? You raised your mage that you desperately need? Bank. And there we go. Mercifully, it's over. Oh, there's the weapon sword. I was one check off.
Well, the good news is as soon as they get through that hook route, they can go and forage for something hopefully useful.
It's tier 7, 8. Okay, I gotta check the list to see what would be the funniest possibility.
I mean, let's just hope for a Masa. Like, at this point, our runners already need, like, a little bit of a break. This has been a rough 20 minutes.
Yeah, but memes, come on.
At least they got an edge. Edge is the reward here.
I mean, look, because I want to laugh even harder, I'm kind of sitting there being like, oh man, Crystal Sword, come on.
I mean, you know it's going to be a Crystal Sword. Let's be real.
And then we're all going to be sitting here hoping for, and then it's going to be Adamant Armor. And we're like, all right, fine, I guess that's okay.
Well, we do see Xyrak as our first runner to head into Eblan Castle and do some looting in here.
And hey, there's at least one sword for that edge. It's not a shiny one, but it's a shinier one.
And a curse string is a really nice pickup.
Absolutely. Getting the Staleman and the Skulls, which is probably the least threatening of the three that you'll find.
Yeah, he should be able to make it through this one because this flame is about to take out all of these skulls, so...
Engidave, meanwhile, doing a couple of extra shop checks by the looks of it, unless he's already been to this shop and just maybe looking for something there. At the very least, selling a bunch of stuff for not the kind of profit you wish you had, but a profit.
Aha, double long. Oh yes, he did check these in football, so he did know they were here. So that's going to be a really huge pickup, especially going into this probably inevitable hook route.
Barely just getting by. Xyrak gets through that first trap, and oh hey, there is a shiny sword. So now it's the opposite. Now Engidave is going to, after literally just buying some longs, if he does that fight, is going to be sitting there being like, oh, really?
Well, good news is that you never really complain about getting a better sword.
I suppose not, but I can only imagine the frustration I would be feeling knowing that I just sold off the farm for those because it's quarter price and then getting what I want literally 5 minutes less or less later. There's going to be a little bit of grumbling.
We do see Xyrak headed back to Mount Ordeals to do this check. So I'm wondering if he gets to the top, realizes it's nothing, and resets out, or if he's going to stay, fight it, and then go pick up that Tella.
Yeah, and because he didn't check the Eblan character, that might be part of his mindset too, to think, okay, you know, I don't know what else there is, but I do know Tella will at least help me potentially with those tier 3s.
And especially with that curse string that he found in Eblan too, that would definitely help get through that, whatever is on the hook route, which we still don't know yet.
Absolutely. There's also just opening the possibility that that character is already a dupe and we see a second Tella there and then we again start laughing.
Because of course.
Meanwhile, Engidave nearly finishing up the Lamia Black Cat chest, so we're going to get to see what the second chest is going to give us here. We saw Murasame in the Staleman chest, so we'll see what's coming up here. Lunar Staff, not too shabby, although doesn't really, I mean, I guess it applies to Tella, but does it though?
Probably not at this point. That is a little bit of extra money though. Doesn't sell for a lot on Escorter, but hey, when you get to that that hook route shop and you see those hourglasses and Bacchus wines, Might be hawking that to get a couple of those.
Yeah, you might even end up taking a quick trip to some of the other chests there to see if you can find a couple extra things to really round it out. Or, you think about it later. But it's kind of the downside of there not being a save point in that area. You really have to weather if you're going to be able to take on that fight or if you want to go through it either.
Yes. And meanwhile, we do see Xyrak making quick work of both bosses on top of Ordeal. Edge really does make a lot of difference.
I mean, you could argue having anybody that, doesn't require just lucky boss rings with the element as you got with the Rubicon fight. At least having somebody that can smack a lot harder. Yeah, that I suppose that's a decent pickup.
Ooh, and that Zeus gauntlet that Engidave just found. Now his edge is about to be like end game ready right now.
Yeah, and especially when he's about to find out that there's a shiny sword behind this battle. I mean, it explains Xyrak going through ordeals as quickly as he has as well, because his edge did have that Zeus gauntlet on as well. So, yeah, I think we figured out who's going to be doing most of the damage in the seed at this point.
Yes, most definitely. So Xyrak did decide to complete Mount Ordeals, so it won't surprise me at all if we see him go and pick up that Tella before headed down the hook route.
And it'll be a matter of seeing, does Engidave completely clear out Eblan as we see possibly a third chest, because it's the only one missing is now the Mad Ogre. Otherwise, it's depending on how long either of them decide to spend doing whatever they're doing at this point. It's going to be interesting to see who gets to that check first.
Well, Dave did buy a Charm Claw or find a Charm Claw. So these Mad Ogres will be very easy.
Oh, yeah, with that damage roll, yeah, I suppose that's going to go quick.
Oh, starting Charm Claw.
To boot.
I did not pay attention to the starting items.
Oh, yeah, that is correct. It was a start. Looks like Xyrak's opting to completely ignore that Tele pickup.
Maybe hoping for a white mage down here. But pretty much with that curse ring in these levels, you can definitely anchor whoever you need to at this point. So that is the benefit.
And we'll see once we get to the character check if Tele is even going to be necessary, because you might find something useful here. You might find a Rosa here.
Oh. Was that an adamant armor?
Well,
chat confirms was an adamant armor. My eyes did not deceive me. Yeah, about that.
So remember how we were just talking about how powerful that edge was? Now that edge is indestructible, basically.
Yeah. Hook route, schmuck route. Let's go.
Well, I suppose that's a white mage.
That is a white mage. That is a CPU at the ruby spot, which, even though it is annoying, is doable with an edge with adamant armor and a Murasame ninja and a Zeus gauntlet. Should be no problem at all.
As we always say with CPU fights, it's not whether you can do it, it's a matter of just how much time do you feel like spending on doing said thing. But in this case, it's required, so tough luck, you're going to have to do it. Too bad.
If not now, then later, but actually now, because there's nowhere else for us to go right now.
And with that adamant armor pickup, Engidave going to be like, chests? Who needs chests? Who needs loot? I am the loot.
I bought my Bacchus, and I am good. I think we will see Xyrak try and find the Ogre chest in here as well. Try and spike something good before going down and fighting these hook bosses, as well as just getting that little bit of XP because Dave has cleared all of the trap chests in Eblan, so Dave has the XP advantage on Xyrak as of right now.
And that's the only advantage. There isn't this ridiculously overpowered armor that might also tip the scale a little bit.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. This is not called the Adamant Cup for any particular reason at all.
I thought it was for the key item.
Yeah, that we already found. So like, really, they've already both won.
Yeah, game over. This is the parade. This is I won the trophy. Now we're all gonna sit here in really stuffy crowds and watch, a vehicle move really, really, really slowly while we play a game really fast.
Seeing Xyrak equip the Charm Claw will hopefully make pretty quick work of these Mad Ogres, and hopefully be rewarded with something equally as great as an Adamant Armor, like an Adamant Armor.
Or, a spear, perhaps? We haven't seen one of those yet.
Spears would make a great dart. Yes, Xyrak is using what we call the life glitch to get extra experience on this fight.
Get a nice little extra double XP there, so that's going to make these levels a little bit better. Also, trying to sneak on the ogres. I believe it's for Bacchuses that you get off the ogres, or am I mixing them up?
Yes, you do get Bacchus off the ogres. He has successfully found at least one. I mean, if you're going to take this chest and you know how scarce money is, this is definitely not a bad strategy when you find an edge.
Speaking of edge, I think he's going to have a pretty easy time with this hook route now.
Yeah, free is free. Officer retreats, easy peasy.
And a part of me is crying right now because this hook route is probably as free as it's going to get unless you had a King Queen Eblan in this spot, basically.
Yep, we are just going to see Engidave push some damage and get through this relatively easily.
Yeah, Escron puts it perfectly. The only real threat is to your time. You look down this fight, and every single time you go, I know I can do you. I just don't know if I want to. Well, an elixir out of that trap, so, I mean, it's not the worst thing you can get, but it's certainly nowhere close to what you were looking for.
Yeah, no. But we did get Virus on the Quack Kid, so that will help, not necessarily for these two fights, but definitely once he gets underground.
Yeah, thankfully, we know now in advance that these fights aren't exactly going to be difficult, so Xyrak not being nearly as well equipped as Engidave is not going to mean that this is going to be a challenge. It just means it's going to take a little bit longer, but it's still going to be more than doable.
Yep, we're just going to keep hitting damage and curing. Unfortunately, this is not a fight that you want to berserk, because once those two little orbs go away, the big orb decides to just demolish you with Globe 999. So this will be a slow fight, but it will not be painful.
Yeah, at the very least, you just have somebody to, once in a blue moon, cast that Cure 3, all for everybody. Just kind of quickly bring them back up to speed, and then you're ready to go again. Nothing too threatening. And I believe both of our runners have at least enough curative items that if they're really in a pinch, you can get your main damage sources up without having to worry about too much either. So, yeah, it's annoying, but you're really not sweating. You're more or less just looking at the timer being like, how much time am I losing to this fight? I know it's something I have to do, but I hate that I'm losing time.
Well, and even though both of our runners kind of took pretty different paths to get here. They're both here at relatively the same time and should both get underground within just a couple of minutes of each other.
Yeah, which, for now means that they're relatively in the same spots. Now, depending on if they follow each other, Engidave is clearly going to have a much bigger advantage with the adamant armor. But if they're deviating and if Xyrak makes some good calls over what Engidave decides to do, this can still be way all over the place. This could go.
Yeah. We will start to see just how powerful that adamant armor is and how much faster Engidave will get through the underground. But that doesn't mean that just because Xyrak hasn't found it yet, that doesn't mean that he's, out of this race. It is still going to be a race, especially with so many routing options now.
Yeah, and there's always a chance that that you have 2 chests left to open in there. You can always go back. You open it up. You find that armor. You're kind of poking yourself a little bit for not checking all of them, but you're still laughing nonetheless. You're good.
So while we have these dueling CPU fights, I just want to shout out our restream team. Our restreamer S Grunt, who rolled this great, fantastic seed we are currently watching, as well as our tracker, Bardic Panda, who is hitting all of these buttons. Not so many yet, but in the next hour or so, should probably hit a lot more.
And also make sure you give our 2 racers a follow as well, Engidave and Xyrak. Both fantastic runners, putting on a good show so far, and cannot wait to see, once we both get underground, what is waiting for us as this just fantastic race continues on. And we're nearly 40 minutes in, and my brain just finally connected the dots that Falcon was required anyway. So we had to be here no matter what.
Yeah. Yep.
So we do have an objective about to be finished here.
This is the time where you don't realize just how big 25,000 is until you have to fight this boss at this spot, hitting at 1,000 damage every hit or every round of hits.
And if you've forgotten, or if you don't play Final Fantasy IV very much, you're thinking 25,000 doesn't seem that bad. You got a couple of black mages, some attackers, and you go, oh, wait, it's got reflect on. Oh, that's a problem. I mean, you could always put a Star Veil on and really try your luck. I don't know if brackets are when you feel like trying to really gamble that hard in a CPU fight, but... I know the chat's been deliberating. Some of them are saying, hey, why don't you YOLO with Berserk? And as you've seen, this was like 3 minutes ago, and they're still both fighting it, so it definitely would not have been a YOLO. It would have been a you only live twice, because you were going to have to redo that, probably.
Yes, float strats would definitely be a way to go if, we didn't just get our Porum and she has terrible leveling. We do have Tella with float, but, that'd be a little cheeky. And I think at this point, especially with the early game the way it was, I think just going straight forward is probably what is on both of our runners' minds right now.
Well, and at the same time, too, because you have to fight a fight already to get to it, and then you have to walk all the way back to the save point, you're probably just thinking, I'm not going to bother. I'll just root my way through it, and then I'll deal with the consequences later, because I'm pretty sure my opponent is going to have to do the same thing anyway.
Yes. And we are already seeing the difference in the leveling with how much Engidave was rolling, about 1,500 around on average, and it looks like Xyrak is averaging about 900 or so damage. So
yeah, and like we said, it's definitely going to be if whatever Engidave is doing, Xyrak's following, it's going to be pretty hard to make up that time. So, but because of just how much is still open and how many ejectors are still on the table, it's very easy to put some deviation in there. Also peeking the boss room at the top of the tower. I believe that would be elements because I think Rubicant is off the table.
Yes, we have already fought Rubicant on Ordeals.
So we'll see what Engidave decides to do here. Not really a direction to take. It's really just kind of what you feel like starting with. I mean, you probably check the freebie first at Town of Monsters and maybe see if there's a lovely Queen Eblan gift for you down there, but I believe in Eskrid. I don't think you would have rolled something that generous. Come on.
Well, we are about to get our first glimpse at what the freebie is and the Feymarch, as well as probably peek these Feymarch bosses. But with an adamant Mura Edge, there's probably a few bosses you could probably end up taking way earlier than you think you probably could.
Well, hey, there's an objective. Nice Luke key for the Seal Cave there, so something that Engidave can look at and maybe consider grabbing right away. Maybe you, depending on what the Feymarch bosses are, maybe you take a second and see what's happening here. Peeking back on Xyrak's side, still going pretty slowly. We got a couple of napping party members here, which is not going to help the process, but at this point, the Mazer is just kind of doing its thing, and you're going to have to keep an eye on health at all times at this point.
Well, this Feymarch looks pretty free.
I was looking at the wrong screen, so what do we have? I see a float being casted, so there's got to be a reason.
Yes, that was a blue robe, as well as the Baron Guards. Oh, so this is our alt gauntlet.
Ooh, and it's not one I enjoy. I hope everybody likes clappers.
We do like some clappers and conjurers. They're fun.
And this is probably another one of those fights where our runners are going to be going through this and thinking, do I really want to spend this much time on it? I mean, it looks like Engidave is making that call. So, seems to think that, you know, I can get through this pretty quickly. I mean, edge with adamant armor means you're fine for the most part, but it's just a matter of, okay, do I want to spend this much time? Especially if the result's potentially nothing.
Yeah. And with this with neither spot being a requirement right now, you're gambling, I guess, either way. Either you leave and have to come back later, or you use some time now. I don't know. I mean, it's a tricky call.
There's a lot of possible items that you could get that could help. I mean, you're looking at 5 other objectives you're still looking for in terms of your key items. So there's chance. So, you know, it's not a bad risk to take. And as one of our chats, Suki Baka, was pointing out, you know, maybe you could get a little bit of extra XP out of it as well if you're looking to really put edge a little bit over the top and just really get that damage flowing. That's also a thing you can do.
Yeah, and this is a definite grind without having to find or buy sirens, so it's not a bad trade-off.
Yeah, especially if this comes up with something that you need, even if it ends up not being anything we need now and ends up leading into something we want, you know, it ends up being worth it because now it's one less bit of grinding that you have to do. So if it pays off in the end, Engidave is feeling pretty smart about it. If it ends up being a not key item at all, well, I mean, you got the grind in, I guess. There's that.
We do have an orb down on Xyrak's side, so he will quickly be coming underground about 6 minutes or so behind Engidave.
And we say the word quickly very, very subtly here after that extremely long CPU fight, because CPU does not care about your time.
Never does.
It's why whenever you come across a CPU in a spot like Super Cannon, you are howling because you are so happy. So we'll see what Xyrak does in this case. I imagine it will be probably similar because, again, you're missing so many key items. You probably go to the freebie first. It just becomes a matter of what does Xyrak do with those two bosses. I imagine you at least take a look at one of them because, again, Baron Guards, that's something you can basically finish. If they found coffins, that would be even more free. Which I think Engidave did check the item shop and I just didn't catch what it was in the Feymarch.
Yeah, I believe so. I don't think there was any of the items we're looking for underground.
And as we see, the clappers are starting to show up now, which is the worst part about this battle, but again, Adamant Armor kind of solves that. But no, Xyrak is going to be we're getting our first real deviation now that everybody's underground and going to Dwarf Castle.
He is just going straight to these bosses. That is an interesting play. A lot of times you see runners, when they get underground, do some shopping first and find some of those other items, specifically like coffins, because we've already seen the hourglasses, and maybe even sirens. So it's interesting that he's just barreling right in to do Dwarf, so he's probably looking for another character.
Maybe also thinking that he's possibly a little bit behind, thinking about some of the things that he hasn't checked. Again, like not even grabbing that Tella. There's a couple of things you could maybe be thinking, I think I have enough equipment that I can probably handle what I see in Dwarf Castle and just barreling through it. So we'll see. So I guess Engidave just grinded.
That was a grind with a potential thing to use on the moon for a really mean boss, but not exactly what you want to see after spending minutes doing an alt gauntlet.
Well, and after that Mom Bomb fight, looks like Xyrak was like, all right, fine, I guess I should check the shops then. Well, we've done one battle in there, so we might as well just commit to it and do the second one. So here we are with the Baron Guards now.
This is an interesting play. I know he's got an adamant, but just to go straight through, I guess he's already got his grind, and and he's back rode him. So this will take a little bit longer, but he does have that Charm Claw, so that won't be as bad. And then just take these one hits and just get through it.
Yeah, and at the very least, you're not worrying about the stats effects, because again, Adamant Armor solves that problem, so.
Yeah.
And at least in terms of what we can see, if Xyrak ends up following suit and ends up doing these two fights, well, you're not really losing time at that point because you're not deviating. So we'll see what Xyrak does. I mean, again, you're going to see Luca Key at the freebie spot, so maybe you consider going after the freebie. But given how the Mom Bomb at Dolls fight went, I don't know if Xyrak maybe has the level to do it unless you get like a lucky King Queen find, or at least an easier boss.
All right, I'm paying attention to this item shop since I didn't really the first time. Okay, nothing. Just some ethers.
Yeah, I mean, if there were coffins there, they would have been bought and this fight would have already been over. So I think we kind of knew the answer to that question, but now we have visual confirmation.
No, and we do know where the ethers are in case we decide we want to do a D-Machine grind.
I'm trying to, like, I'm not too familiar with D-Machine grinds. Would there be a point where you would think about it now, or is it kind of getting too late where you wouldn't think too hard about it now?
No. I mean, you have to have the Darkness Crystal to do it anyway. And then, since we have the Giant as an objective, we're going to go there regardless. But by that point, we should probably have enough XP from other fights that we probably don't need to do that. But maybe. It's not off the table. Especially depending on if we end up finding some mages. Can always
Xyrak.
swap to a full mage party.
Xyrak opting to do the exact same thing, now choosing the Baron Guards fight, although using hourglasses to make this a little less stressful. I mean, I can't remember if Engidave bought any, but even if he did, adamant armor kind of doesn't make you worry about damage, so I suppose making them stop is really just a time thing, but when you don't need to waste them. Oof.
Well, Crystal Ring is not nothing, but the Feymarch was completely a wash.
So now, in terms of timing, like, I'm assuming Xyrak will get through this, and then we'll probably peak what that second fight is. And then the real question is, does he continue on with it being the All Gauntlet, or does he just go, nah, I'm not wasting my time on this? At least not right now. Maybe I can check other drops, see what I can find.
Yeah, I would say he will probably nope out of this Alt Gauntlet at this point.
Yeah, probably not having the Adamant armor would make that decision really easy now that I think about it.
Just because that spot is really punchy.
So at that point, that would leave us at this juncture, the Seal Cave as we see Engidave doing right now. That would also leave us Dwarf Castle, which we do know Mom Bomb is hiding behind the first spot. And if you want to get really cheeky, you can take a look at Top of Tower, which there's still the possibility at this juncture that you know, there might be a tower key at the top of tower just kind of hanging out there, just for fun.
I mean, at this point, Keyless Tower has to have something. Unless everything is chaining behind one key item down here. But, like, we don't have very many, and we're still looking for a lot.
Yeah, and with Seal Cave being an objective, you know, it's probably the direction that I think most of our runners will kind of lean to anyway, so we're going to know pretty quickly if Keyless Tower's going to have anything, because it might be a 50-50 shot at this point.
Yeah. Regardless, we're going to see Dave do, like, complete the Sealed Cave, but yeah, it might not be any progression. It might just be an objective.
And Xyrak did heal before saving, so it looks like he's going to at least... Oh, no, he hasn't peaked it yet. I'm forgetting that, you know, you haven't known that yet. So we're not quite sure if we're going to take that fight yet. But let's see what's hanging out in the spot you had to check. And, oh!
Yay!
It's not a guaranteed desire yet, but the possibility is now here. We are halfway. We can now start hoping.
I mean, it's not required, but it's probably required. Oh, this is fun.
Well, I suppose there are worse spots.
Definitely.
I still don't like seeing it.
Well, we do see Xyrak just nope. He said, not today, Alt Gauntlet, not today.
But that moon veil.
I think I'll take this Mom Bomb, thanks.
Now, don't get me wrong, it could also be really funny if, you know, when they go to craft an item at the smith, if they decide to check it, that moon veil happens to be there too. That would also be fun. I'm just imagining Engidave's reaction if he does check that after all of that grinding and then realizing, I could have done this in, like, 2% of the time?
Silly moon veil.
So with Kainazo down, that is objective 2 done on Engidave's side. And with that twin harp, we totally have a harp come in. No, probably not. I mean, maybe. It's possible. But I feel like since you're underground, you probably do some other checks first.
I feel like at this point you're gonna do Dwarf before Keyless Tower.
Yeah, most likely. And I mean, you're also thinking about a character check too, if you're looking for something just a little bit extra special. Although there's not a... With Cecil and Fusoya not being around, there's not a whole lot you can ask for, and we've already got some decent levels on her character as it stands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this isn't a... I mean, this isn't a terrible in-game party at all. Especially in this flag set, knowing that we only get 4 characters.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be, especially for me watching this, because I don't get to see a lot of seeds like this, because I'm still relatively new, seeing how you're going to see people handle parties when you don't have really the 2 best characters even in your opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So to see what you do with a party of 4 nonetheless, where you don't have all those options, is also going to be very interesting. Mom Bomb, though, on Xyrak's side, second chance comes in, you're not getting through that. Rosa is now joining us, and which means, be gone. Not as good white mage.
Poor Porum, she doesn't get enough credit around here.
And then in the gold bet slot, break out the pool because there's your water noodle.
But this fight will go relatively quickly. And we will see what we are rewarded with from Dwarf Castle.
I'm also assuming Xyrak must have heard me because he literally did open the ground up for that pool. So hey. All that would have been left, I can see Eskrut in the chat, all that would have been left was a cry to fill up the water, but I don't think he has, no, he doesn't have Porum because it's gone.
Yep, no crying here.
Boo, we can't do the full circle joke. I am disappointed. Instead, we are treated to, I guess, a hand off of the boss that didn't have a hand. So
Purple hand.
It would be funny if you could, like, at some point we ever see that sprite randomized, so you just have like something really randomly crawling across the screen.
We do have the sprites colors randomized. But yeah, could be something interesting. We do get a Baron key. So that is really going to open up some overworld checks here pretty soon.
Well, I hope Val's ready.
Oh yeah! See, it's an hour into the seed and I forgot where Val was.
I'm honestly amazed I remembered.
And it does look like Xyrak is just headed straight there, just gonna follow this dwarf chain and hope that he finds some progression up here.
Well, you always follow the chains, although there's still that part of me that says, no, go back, get the harp, we want it.
Well, and neither runner has done the Sheila 1 check or set up a Sheila 1 check as well, so.
Yeah, and Keyless Tower still remains out there. But yeah, because Baron Key is a much lower level, and it is another character check and opens up another check if you wanted to with the Odin spot, it probably does make sense to get this out of the way now.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's an extra shop to check if you really want to. But no, completely skipping the shop, just barreling down there. So Xyrak, as we've seen a lot of times so far in this race, has been kind of just ignoring most shops, except for maybe item shops to check if something interesting is there. So seems to be playing the game of, I'm going to make it work with what I have no matter what.
So now that Engidave has his Baron key, it'll be interesting to see what he kind of decides to do.
Yeah, you still have a few options. Like we said, there is Keyless Tower if you want to be cheeky. There is the Sheila 1 setup you can do. And now you have Harp and Baron key on Engidave's side to work with. So I would imagine just because it's along the way, you probably hit Baron, but you never know.
Oh, I forgot that pan is an objective. So that is why we're kind of hoping we only have to single dive.
Mm-hmm. Well, with Xyrak side starting that Val fight, we have a Kane sitting behind in Mist, just kind of crying a little bit because he wants to be useful.
But you know, with that Murasame edge, Val can just go cry in a corner.
I mean, unless, you decide to weaken Edge and then decide to be really mean and possibly hit him. So I suppose that's out there. Or just keep trying to petrify him. Just the bullying. Every attack so far has hit that Edge.
Val knows where the problem lies.
I mean, that's why she's spinning in the tornado. She knows there's nobody to stop her. So that is down. So we have now the Kainazo spot left, unless Xyrak decides to take a few peeks at the treasure, but I would imagine not, just given how he's kind of avoided most shops. I feel like he's not thinking too hard about loot. And yep, just going straight up there.
And we do have a Demist sitting on the Baron throne.
I mean, it's poetic, is it not? How do you bomb your own village? How do you bomb a village when you are the one that holds the bomb?
Now the question is, will we see a mist?
Well, the damage output, probably not.
Nope, there's the crumble.
So we will get a character check and then obviously our key item check to see if this chain either continues for more fun or if we finally get a resolution here.
It's just our vanilla pal Sid.
Arctic Panda, though, making the comment there in the chat that if Demas was at the throne, does that technically mean Demas gave us the package to bomb our own village?
No, Val did.
So we just have a traitor in the midst of things.
I mean, we know Final Fantasy IV is all about traitors.
I thought it was more about one traitor.
Or a betrayer.
Yes,
maybe
to all.
not a traitor. Well,
Oh, I mean, it leads to something that you probably want, just not the thing you would like.
definitely useful. But yeah, what we do see, Engidave has gone down to the Odin throne and found the water hag on his way out of Baron.
So, that's a pretty much free basement. So we'll see if Xyrak does the same. I'm assuming by tenting or cabining, he's probably going to do just that. So I'll be happy to find a relatively free fight, because even with the punching and a little bit of speed in there, you're probably not going to lose all your party members fast enough that you won't get 3 hits off.
Yeah. You might not get all the experience on the characters you want, but you will get through this fight.
Yeah, if the item ends up being useful, you're not particularly worrying about it, so we'll see on Engidave's side what it was worth. And
oh, that is the answer.
So technically it was a chain that ended up coming to a good conclusion, just you had to do a little bit extra for it.
To the moon we go.
And we talked earlier how you might not have to do the moon with this seed. Well, given how things have dropped so far, I think it's almost pretty much guaranteed you're going to have to do a little bit of looking on the moon at this point.
Oh, most definitely. We have too many gating key items up top, or still left, that there's no way that we don't find a couple on the moon at this point.
Or
you
go to harp, get the tower key. Or no, you go to harp and get the pan, and then all 3 items you need left just happen to be in those 3 pin spots. Escron, I believe in you. Please. Please.
Is everything, in fact, just skated behind the unrequired twin harp?
Yes. Shoot it all into my veins.
All right.
Or I
so
guess they could all
Xyrak
just be on Moon.
Xyrak got his darkness crystal. Engidave is about to get his pass. And while Engidave has the Luka check up on Xyrak, we will kind of just see where we're going from here.
Yeah, it's really dependent on what you want to do first. Looks like Xyrak
has remembered the forge. Hey!
All right, everybody in the chat, time to guess.
We want a moon veil. We want a moon veil.
Or crystal sword, come on.
Hey, crystal sword is money.
Is it though with quarter? It's not that much money.
I mean, it's more money than most things.
Oh, hey, there's another shiny sword if you want it. Also, Zeus Gauntlet and a Life Staff if you want to make your white mage useful. Engidave. Don't.
Yes!
A man of the people! Unless it actually gives you something you need, in which case, I suppose it's required. But we don't know that yet, so for now, Engidave is our current favorite racer.
Hey! A massive moon! That's useful. That's the best thing we could get from a forge.
At the very least, Xyrak didn't buy another one at the shop, so, you know. So, I mean, at least it's something you can use. At least if you can take anything away from that forge, at least it can go to something. But it looks like Xyrak is taking the moon, so boo! Do the harp!
So we are going to get a little bit of a divergence here, for sure.
And it's a pretty timing divergence. I mean, both of these cutscenes we're about to watch do take some time. Oh, that's right. Drake just mentioning harp isn't even with Xyrak yet because he hasn't done the Seal Cave yet. I forgot. See, I remember things that happened an hour ago, but don't ask me 10 minutes.
Well, it is about to be everybody in the community's favorite time, except for Harumph, where we are about to hear the random tune that our DJ Spoony B is going to be playing for us.
Ribbit.
Man, that just put me in a mood. I love a good jam.
Oh, I said ribbit, not ribbon.
Well, thanks, Engidave, for giving us music, even though you just reset out of it.
And I'm sure Harumph is sitting there very vindicated right now.
Meanwhile, on Xyrak's side, he did find sirens up in the moon shop. He did peek the cave value spot and saw the Magus sisters, and now he is taking a gold dragon fight.
It looks like Engidave might be setting up a Sheila 1 check.
Yep, I don't hate this play, especially because you are probably about to head up to the moon, and definitely just want to see what is available before headed up there.
Also, maybe the thinking too is, oh god, I just wasted time on this harp. So maybe I should do something that maybe the other runner might not think to do, which, again, as we said earlier, Pan is an objective, so maybe you do take the chance and check at least Sheila 1 to see if you can find something interesting. Because worst case scenario, you can save, check it, and if you don't like what's there, then you reset out. You're going to have to come back to it later anyway. Won't take too long to get through, so... If I imagine if Engidave doesn't see anything he wants to see here, he'll probably just go to Moon.
Yeah, because if he was going to do Keyless Tower, he would have done it while he was checking this Sheila 1 check, too.
So from one gamble to another... That's not a great reward either, but... I guess it's... Is it better than the ribbon, though? I mean, he's electing that neither are, so...
I mean, for Xyrak, yes. Because he still has a Palom. For Engidave,
And now, depending on what Xyrak gets here, all of a sudden we have a race again, because now Engidave has given up some time.
This is true.
Now, the Adamant Armor can still play catch-up, and has already done the Seal Cave, so Xyrak still has some extra work to do if, you know, objectives end up going the way that they might go now. But at the very least, you know, an opening has now occurred, so we'll see what happens with the deviation that we've already seen. We'll see if Engidave maybe goes to the LST first.
Yeah, there's still a lot of divergence that we can have, even up on the moon. Because it looks like Xyrak is choosing the top-down approach, and so Engidave could go bottom-up, and we could see the moon in its entirety very soon.
And given how many spots are left, man, you got to start hoping for some key items. I mean, Engidave, if I'm looking correctly, we're seeing 8 on Engidave's side for key items. Xyrak sitting at 7. So, still got some work to do to get to that 10, where you're going to get your double XP in. And especially when you know you have a giant route to do, any XP you can find is going to be really useful.
Yes, and you don't, like, want to route in the giant until you know you're going to get that double XP.
And really all that's left on the board, if we're not counting stuff that Xyrak hasn't done and things that Engidave has already checked being nothing, really all that's left is really the keyless tower, unless... Actually, yeah, I think that really is everything that's left if you don't go to the moon, so... Pretty much required at this point to go check the moon for stuff, unless there's just some crazy chain happening.
Yeah, well, and it looks like we have Engidave also deciding to do top down. Neither of them checked the moon character.
I mean,
so I guess they've both decided that these are the parties they're going to stick with.
Yeah, I think you can make an argument at this point, too, that you're deep enough in that there's really nothing that the moon's going to show you that makes you want it. Like, unless you find a duplicate edge.
Yeah,
maybe that's the only thing.
Exactly that.
But otherwise, anything that's left on the table, especially all the things that we haven't seen yet, like, yeah, I still haven't seen F-Word. So, or I was going to say, I don't think we've seen Riddy either. I think those are the two that are left that we haven't seen. So, there's definitely a possibility that you're just not going to find anything you want. So, for now, you're just committing to what you got. Tell is napping, because that's all Tell is really good for at this juncture. And otherwise, you just let Edge do what Edge has been doing the entire seed, which is just whack away.
And I do want to give a shout out to Possum Morpheus for raiding with his party of 21. Thanks for coming in. We are about an hour and 18 minutes into the seed, and it has been a heck of a race so far.
Xyrak nearly finishing with the Mega Sisters now, so we'll be seeing very shortly if Cave Value is actually with value, or if we're going to just be laughing again at another completely useless check. But it's starting to get low on the odds. We should be seeing something at this point. And I say that and watch this be Magma Key just for jokes.
Well, the seed has had plenty of jokes so far, so what's one more? Well, at least that's useful for Xyrak.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, Xyrak's probably not absolutely hating it, but probably still hating it.
I mean...
It's not the best joke, but it's still a joke nonetheless. We take it.
And for anyone that is joining us a little bit late, the difference between our runners is that Engidave got an adamant armor out of Eblan, and Xyrak did not.
Yeah, Xyrak only checked one of the 3 chests, whereas Engidave full cleared it. But otherwise, the seed itself has just... I feel like the stand-up game by this seed is so good that it should be filling out at least 3,000 seed venues right now.
I imagine so. This has been a very interesting, frustrating, what is happening kind of seed, and I love to watch these.
Yeah, when you're not the one running it, it's a hoot. Hey, there's the spoony boy. And even with all the jokes in the seed, no spoon still.
Nope.
So even if you wanted to...
I don't imagine anyone wants to at this point.
Yeah, you'd have to have a really, really bad shaping party if you were going to be that desperate here. Not to mention, Xyrak already just did a bunch of siren grinding, so Eddie's just not going to do much here for him.
Now, chat is pointing out that Xyrak is about to head down the LST with no exit.
Yeah.
So we might see the very rare warp out of LST happen.
As if we haven't had enough memes, enough jokes. It's gonna keep on giving.
Alright, who do we have at the Mersame altar?
And I mean, at this point too, oh no.
Blarg indeed.
Oh, actually getting a Starveil off.
Well, I do think that Rosa is still cursed, if I'm not mistaken, so...
At this point too, when you know that Xyrak's not going to be able to warp, you have to assume that you're just fully completing at this point. Because if you're going to have to spend this much time getting out of it, you're not going to waste time. Oh, never mind. Wyvern doesn't care about your time either.
Nope, not at that battle speed.
But at the very least, we get to watch Engidave get the good news too. Except for Engidave, it is completely useless.
This is where I really wish that Yang could equip the ninja shirt.
Yeah. You figured the karate guy would be close enough, but I guess they're just the size difference in between the two must be so different that it would just be too baggy, I guess.
I guess so.
Either that or just Yang goes, I'm not wearing a shirt.
And we do see Xyrak leaving the moon. My guess would be he is on an exit hunt to make that walk down the LST a little more viable at this point.
And at the very least, if that doesn't happen, you could also, while you're down here, maybe go through Seal Cave, get that objective covered. Although it would give you the harp, which, while we would like it, it might also create a deviation that Xyrak, that we know now, does not want to take.
Yeah, I feel like at this point with his shopping that he's probably pretty dedicated to heading right back up to the moon.
So yeah, you're probably fully correct in that. It's just hoping to find exits so that way you don't have to worry about it. Because at this point, you're not going to see it on Rosa, because Rosa won't learn until you get through the Earth or the Tower of Zot. And yeah, there's not really much else that's going to help you, so...
We do see him picking up a lot of just items in general, though, to kind of help with this LST clear.
Well, knowing what's going on at the highest of altars, we'll see if Engidave follows suit or goes the bottom-up strategy, and we'll see what's hanging out in those spots if that's the case. I mean, again, like I said, Xyrak almost has to full clear anyway if he doesn't find exit. Engidave might just do the same too, just because of the sheer number of objectives still left on the table. You are still looking for 4 key items.
Yeah, at this point, unless there's a lot of gating, these altars are going to give more items than they won't.
And I don't think Engidave has done any sort of a grind minus the All Gauntlet that, yeah, was not the most generous. But, you know, at the very least, if you do full clear the moon, that is a good chunk of your grinding. And if you happen to find 2 key items during that process, you'll at least have your double grind for a little bit of it.
Well, we do see Xyrak headed to the sealed cave to go ahead and complete this objective while he's down on Earth. So he might very well fall into the twin harp trap, which is a trap for him, a joy for us.
Yeah, it's our favorite trap. Although I suppose I don't believe anybody that came here from Possum's Raid got to hear it, so hey, it'd be a treat for you guys.
I like treats.
Speaking of treats, are we going to see one here at the White Spear altar, or is it just going to be... Oh, that's I don't like that treat.
I mean, that's a treat. I'm not really sure if it's a good treat, but it's a treat.
I mean, if you like losing time to dialogue, I suppose it's a treat.
I mean, it's a lot of talking. It's a robot. It's 4 bosses. What's not to like?
I mean, where do I start? But no, I'm trying to think. I don't know if this slot would be one where Luge is too dangerous. It's just, much like the CPU fight, annoying. Really annoying.
Well, with that Thunderclaw, we're going to make really quick work of this spot.
And now remember, everybody, you gotta watch. Luge demands it. Watch. Whenever he gets to it.
Watch! There it is.
I mean, I did, and he didn't do anything. So...
I mean, cool. Bones. Ooh, we might get some poison walk, though.
See, now that's a treat.
See? He is a treat. Oh,
although that's not a
my
treat.
gosh. Well, it is a hat, right, chat? Hat, 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 hat.
Is it actually a hat?
It's a glass hat.
I never knew if it was a glass hat or a glass helmet or anything. I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a glass hat. Well, I don't know. I've always called it a glass hat.
I mean, unless you hit it really, really hard, and in which case it's just going to be glass.
Broken at that. Meanwhile, we do have Xyrak, who has gotten through that Kenatsu in the sealed cave, and we will be lighting up his second objective.
And a twin harp. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see if the trap comes to fruition. Engidave, not particularly liking that Odin spot right now. Maybe just trying to set up a little bit differently. At this point, man, you got to imagine Ribbon Room's got to at least, even if it's not an objective key item, one of those two has to have a key item, right?
I mean, at this point, we have Keyless Tower, we have Ribbon Room, Masa, and Mura. No. And Crystal Sword Altar. So that's 5 spots. So we could have a couple of Zocs if we just have one massive chain.
Oh, deviation. Unless Xyrak's maybe just shop peeking, we might be seeing an all gauntlet in Xyrak's future, which we know is not going to be a very good outcome if it's over.
Well, we did somehow start a riveting conversation in chat about glass masks and glass and lots of other what do you call this glass thing conversations. So
we had initially hat, and now we have glass. Okay. Well, there's a party rock.
We like party rocks.
Now with Engidave, by the time that you get to there, do you even do treasury? It might just be, unless, like, if you have to go to Zod for potentially the key item check, you'll do it, but will treasury be something you want to look at this point?
At this point, probably not. I think Engidave has all the gear he needs, so he doesn't even need to do the treasury for money. So I would say at this point you're skipping it because you're an hour and 30 minutes in. And that's just a time sink. But we do have Xyrak headed back down to the Feymarch, thinking that surely progression has to be behind this alt gauntlet.
But we know the seed is constantly said, actually no.
Actually, here's some clothes. Here's some more clothes.
Well, I think this one was the Moonveil, wasn't it?
This is the Moonveil, yes.
Yes, Escrunt in chat saying that he hit the key items very well. Yes, you absolutely did. And meanwhile, we should also, again, shout out our restream team. Escrunt on the restream side, Bardic Panda in the tracker spot, and then myself, CS Radical, and JMac the Librarian in the booth. Engidave and Xyrak running this race. Let's just say, torturous race for these two runners as it continues on. But we're enjoying it, and that's all that matters, right?
Yes, and just think this is only race 1. So we're still going to get at least one more, if not 2 more races between these 2 runners this week.
So I suppose they'll leave this race potentially thinking, well, it can't get worse, right? Right?
Look, I don't think anyone is going to ask that this week.
Oh, hey, we are no longer facing dragons. We're just facing froggies now.
Yay, more frogs. Why are frogs so cute? They're so cute.
I think we can just confirm Engidave, man of the people. Double frogs and harp? Super generous. Unlike the seed, thanks, S-Grunt. Oh, wait, actually, legitimately, thank you, S-Grunt.
Well, and as chat is saying, S-Grunt should just roll the next 2 seeds for these 2 runners, because why not make it a trilogy?
I mean, if you're going to keep rolling seeds like this, why don't you just do all of them? Well, the froggies are trying, trying to cast that fire spell that they're pretty sure they knew and for some reason can't figure out.
I can't imagine why.
Not gonna lie, though, the chance of a tiny frog spitting fire at you is kind of terrifying still. Especially when said fire does a percentage of your health, which it will hurt. It'll hurt a lot. Instead, it's probably more of just a croak.
Well, and that frog just croaked.
Now, surely there are no more memes, right? Oh, no.
Oh, okay. Well, the dragons gave a dragon whip, so cool. Cool seed, cool.
Well, that leaves 2 spots.
All right, so we have...
There's going to be one heck of a
altar.
chain. Oh my god.
We have the Murasame altar, which has the wyvern we've seen, and the top of tower. That's it. That's it. All of the key items left are hidden behind those 3 spots.
The longer this goes, the more that I think I'm correct in thinking that the keyless tower was going to lead to tower key.
Which is going to lead to everything else. There's going to be nothing. This moon is going to end up haunted.
At this point, whoever finds Pan first wins, right?
Oh gosh. And we still have Giant to complete.
Yeah, if I knew ahead of time, I would have pumped up the air mattress, because I think I'm sleeping here tonight, but...
Yeah, I this is definitely one of those seeds that I think is going to end up being passed around the free enterprise community this week. And Xyrak is receiving the disappointing news that all he received for that very long alt gauntlet was a moon veil.
I don't know if I call this one disappointing. I think for Engidave at that time it was disappointing. I think for Xyrak, it's catastrophically just infuriating news.
And he still doesn't have exit, so he's having to walk this out.
Oh, man. This will be the point where you just put F's in chat for Xyrak. Oh, I feel so bad. And if he goes harp, I'm gonna feel way worse. This might be the one time that I go, no, don't do harp.
He is doing harp because we see him getting down to 1 HP on these spots.
No.
Well, good news for chat. We're gonna get this really rockin' tune for a second time. Bad news for Xyrak is he is only going to be rewarded with a ribbon.
Well, Engidave's kind of won now. There's probably 3 key items now in his hand. Oh, man. And he's just immediately going, oh no, he might do Murasame, but at this point,
he's gonna go ahead and full clear at this point. He may or may not have to do this wyvern fight twice, but he will full clear this so that he does not have to come back up here.
Oh, the way the seed is going, Pan's gonna be like getting the gold medal, and the ribbon's gonna be like the participation trophy. Oh man, this seed tonight. Oh, I'm loving this. I'm every second of this has just been great.
So we are about to get blarged in the face as Xyrak is walking down to music.
If only the timing was perfect, it could have been a blarg as the song started. It could have been more of an opera, but you know. Instead, it's just explosions. Very, very powerful explosions.
We will see if Dave gets through this on the first try, but meanwhile, we will let y'all listen to this piece composed by our own Xenocat as DJ Spoony B plays it again.
Well, I feel like with this music sounding very much like what you would hear in a sitcom intro, it's kind of making sense.
And you saw that very long pause of a reset on Xyrak's side, probably just breathing out a sigh of frustration.
Yeah, that is a point where you just start questioning everything. And like for Xyrak too, like to start off your first game with this level of just sheer bad luck. I mean, Xyrak to get to this spot had to win his last match against Vitasia to get to the tiebreaker for the play-in round that he also had to win. So the journey has been quite arduous, and the reward for said journey is just the randomizer being extremely mean. So now it's Keyless Tower time, because what's one more gamble?
I like this play because he is assuming that Engidave has full clear of the moon at this point, and so he is assuming that there's a lot of value behind this Keyless Tower.
Well, so far it's Pan and now Sand Ruby, so yeah, that's a good start. And if that Pan ends up leading to everything else, like I possibly suggested jokingly and may have actually been correct on. But no, we're getting Giant instead, because might as well.
Well, that Sand Ruby does make the 10th key item. So I completely understand this play now. Going ahead and getting this out of the way, making this your full grind for the Z fight, and then you never actually have to get back in this whale again.
So we know its elements at the top of tower. So At this point, all that's left that can help Xyrak that doesn't already exist into our knowledge with Engidave is going to be the Tower Key and the Pinktail. Now, if you can happen to get both, it's not bad, because at the very least, you get 2 more objectives done, and you finally get that admin armor you've been not having for an hour and probably about an hour and 50 minutes by the time you get to that point.
Yeah, getting the Pinktail from this chain would be the best outcome for Xyrak at this point, in terms of maybe being able to catch up, because the 2 places of value on the moon are the Murasame and the Crystal Sword Altar. So if you're going top down, you don't have to fight the rest of that moon to get what you need from there. So he's not out of it yet. He's behind, but he's not out of it yet.
Yeah, and the downside is that most likely you don't check Crystal Sword or everything else. Well, that's a rat tail, so it could still lead to something, but for now, you now got to leave tower, take that long walk, and hope that it's something. And if that ends up being nothing, oh boy. I mean, if rat tail doesn't come up with it, like if rat tail gives magma key to just put real, or spoon for real jokes, I think we can pretty much say that this is it.
Yeah, it would be a lot. It would put Xyrak very, very behind at this point, and not for lack of effort or lack of skill, just making a couple of gambles, and honestly, not finding that adamant armor.
Well, in the meantime, Engidave just kind of looked dead in the eyes of a DKC and laughed. So that's 1 down.
And said, "Please give me all of your XP, thank you."
Except for that old guy that I've pretty much not moved for like the last hour.
Which is funny because he does have a cursed ring, so he could, in theory, let Tella get some levels.
He could, but
But Tella is old and needs a nap.
Yeah, he's definitely getting his beauty rest in this one.
Uh-huh.
The
So
pain that would be if this was Tower Key. Oh.
Well, I mean, Keyless Tower did lead to the Tower Key, so this is going to be the 3rd objective for Xyrak, and maybe this leads to the Pinktail. And then it's just about gambling which spots to clear on the moon.
But the stand-up comedy continues. How about you walk all the way to the top to walk all the way out, get the thing you wanted, and walk all the way back up to walk all the way back down?
This is true. And for those counting in chat, Engidave did remember to turn his battle speed on after only 1 boss fight.
Escrunt, rolling legend at this point.
Oh my goodness. How about a free 300,000 XP?
Oh. I can't do this.
I think this scene has broken the comms. Sorry, y'all. Okay, well.
I'm trying.
It's been real, y'all. Oh, man. Okay, well. All right. So Xyrak is destroying the super cannon, and will hopefully find a Pinktail.
And Engidave is sort of destroying the giant, sort of.
Engidave just like walked up to the giant and whistled, and it fell over. And oh, by the way, here's 500 free XP.
I mean, if we want to make any sort of jokes out of this, at least Engidave can now just sit there and think about that alt gauntlet that he wasted time at when he just had the easiest 300,000 XP you're ever going to make.
Oh my goodness. Hey, it's my girl!
And there goes your girl.
No, Dave might take her as an anchor. Come on, Dave. Do the people right. The people want Rydia.
Yeah, you've been man of the people all stream. Come on, do it. In the meantime, we'll see if at least some level of, like, genuine niceness that's Escron is here, hiding a pink tail here maybe, but nope.
It's a spoon. Oh no. Oh, that feels so bad.
And now Xyrak's about to check Sheila 1, which we know leads to nothing either.
Also, boo Engidave. Boo. That's all.
Oh. Like, when we inevitably interview somebody in this race, I don't know what question I'm starting with at this point.
Look, I don't have any questions. I'm just going to let them vent for 10 minutes.
Well, Engidave, I think we can have questions for. Xyrak, I'm just going to be like, look, the floor is yours. Have fun. I'm just going to let this one go.
Oh, man.
So that means Pan has to be Pinktail.
Nope. Because we still have Earth Crystal to check, too.
Oh, that's true. Oh, the memes of 2 more checks still not leading to it. All right, Escron, I believe in you. Come on, keep it going. Oh.
There it is.
Well, it's almost go mode. But, I mean, there is still some running away you can do, but okay, nope, we're skipping tower for now. Because you could still waste a little bit of time in Tower Zot.
Yeah, so he'll turn the pan in hoping to get the tower key, and then it'll be which tower is he gonna do?
I'm trying to think. At this point, Sheila 2 is either going to be Magma Key or just a random item. I think that's the only 2 things we have left.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, we do see Xyrak going back to Mount Hobbs to pick up that Tella. I think he's decided enough of without the exit. Give me an exit caster, please, game. Thank you.
Yeah, there's our Magma Key. All right, all the key items after an hour 50 are at least revealed to us.
So then it becomes, which tower does Dave take? And Dave has faded Keyless Tower for this long. So I feel like he's going to do Earth before Keyless Tower.
I mean, he's right next to Zot. Hey! We're getting a full clear today.
Yep, we are going everywhere. Bardic Panda is going to have the opportunity to push every button on the board. It's going to be a good time.
And the thankful part is that at the very least, with Engidave doing something that we know is completely useless, I can take a second to catch my breath. Because I'm pretty sure I just took half of my lung space away laughing for the last 10 minutes.
Oh, man.
I mean, at this point, Engidave, why didn't you go check for Flame Dog while you're at it? Just for fun at this point. I mean, it's not like there's a race going on or anything.
No, Xyrak is headed back up to the moon. I am hoping for Xyrak's sake that he goes back to that Wyvern spot first. And then does Crystal Sword Altar.
Yeah, the odds are low on the Crystal Sword part, but maybe knowing the Wyvern's there and being a little bit more set up for it, maybe you do that now to try to take care of it. And to answer Fiery's Blizzard's question, is this a race? I thought it was a comedy show. The answer is yes. Yes to both.
Ooh, but even if he does those 2 altars, he's still going to be missing that pink tail, and he will probably full clear to make sure that he doesn't miss it.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem now. If the path was nice enough to give us that pink tail at the super cannon drop, that would have at least given you, if you got lucky and grabbed the 2 that you would need. But now,
he's skipping the Wyvern and headed down. Yeah, the only hope for him would be if he got that pan and save scummed. But yeah,
I mean,
it's looking like a full clear
point,
at this point.
Yeah, at this point, biting a catastrophic power failure on Engidave's side, I'm pretty much assuming this is about wrapped up, even though there's still a lot of time to go, technically.
Oh, hey, second edge.
Isn't it great when the dupe is actually someone you would like? Oh, he's actually going to take it anyway. Oh, no, never mind. I was reading the screen wrong. Isn't it great that you get the dupe that you actually would have wanted, except it's 2 hours in and you really, really, really don't need it?
Well, especially after 500,000 XP on your Yang.
The freest of 500,000 XP.
Oh, man.
I think that might be my first question. Hey, all gauntlet versus giant. What are you gonna do next time? Who knew that all gauntlet versus giant would have been such an easy question in this seed?
Well, Dave about to get the very disappointing news that he has to go back underground and do Keyless Tower.
To answer Beowulf's question, all gauntlet was in the queen spot in the Feymarch.
Which gave a moon veil.
The most useful of items that we've seen in the seed, probably.
But I don't think has actually been used.
Oh, hey, I guess it's a dart, so it's
Yeah.
useful in quotations.
I mean, it'll get used. Maybe.
So the funny question we can be asking here, we're almost at 2 hours. Even though we know Engidave is way ahead, you still got to be wondering what's going on in Engidave's mind with how long this has taken him personally.
Yes.
He has no idea that he's well in the driver's seat, but my, you got to be wondering how much stress is with the amount of gambles that he's made, because he gambled on Sheila 1 and other places before even all of this.
Yeah, he is last locationing the pink tail and not the pink tail, the super cannon. So you have to think that he is thinking Xyrak is on his way to Z already, and is in the Z fight, or that they're neck and neck, because there hasn't been a finisher yet.
Yeah, you got to imagine at least there maybe with everything that's happened, you wonder if maybe it's not too prevalent in your mind, but he's still got to be thinking in the back of his head, I've taken a lot of shots in the dark and not really have paid off. Could have Xyrak made just 1 or 2 checks that could have changed everything? You almost wonder if he's peeking to see if that race time has come up or not.
Yeah, he's definitely probably watching, but also he knows that he's gonna play this as straight as it can go. No more mistakes from here on out, just no more cheeky checks. If he can get it and get it done fast at this point, that's all he's got left to do.
And I mean, at this point, as long as he follows the chain from here, he's gonna get what he wants, so.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's gonna, with the pink tail, gonna check that rat tail out together anyway, so you're gonna be kind of inclined to do it as it stands. He's gonna be very shortly finding out the good news, so.
Yep, and he will get that second adamant armor from that pink tail turn in, and he will probably just put it on Yang and let the two of them just hit Z to death. Meanwhile, we do have Xyrak taking on this Odin fight, and making very quick work of it. Thunderclaws go a very long way.
Now, if only there was good news in these 2 chests, which you would have assumed would have been something, but we know even Earth Crystal has nothing. The joke's in the seat, I'm telling you.
But you know what? I am just having the best time on comms right now.
And it sounds like from the chat, because we're getting some compliments in here, I guess they are too.
Oh, man.
It's unfortunate that our pleasure is coming from the pain of our two runners, but, you know, it's all in good fun.
And, you know, I'm just watching Engidave walk down this tower, knowing that he has to walk back up it in a minute. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, maybe we should put a Fitbit on these characters to see how many steps they take in a seed.
This would have been where it would have been great to have the wacky flag where each step gives you gold.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, for sure. Because I think that they literally walked everywhere they possibly could walk 3 times.
Look, we're not saying that every character except for Tella, because Tella's been napping for like an hour and a half, are just going to have tree trunks for legs at the end of the seed.
Yeah, they're going to definitely
have tree trunks for legs at the end of the seed.
They're going to give Ruby a run for his money, that's for sure.
Now the only thing that would be funny now is if there was somehow a random sprite that has to do with time in the Z sprite. That would just just a
leg.
big clock. Or just leg.
Oh, man.
And I gotta say, if anybody's watching this has never played Free Enterprise before, if this doesn't make you want to try it by going to FF4FE.com, I don't know what will.
No.
And on that website, if you guys want to check it out, the randomizer is there along with the wiki, which is tons and tons of reading to help you understand everything that goes on in this game. It can't help you with seeds like this, though. I'll just let you know in advance. But there is also a link to our Discord there as well, so please check all that out if you haven't already.
And you know, not every seed is like this, but a lot of them are. Just a good time.
Just make sure you don't let S-Grunt roll a seed for you, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Well, as Engidave finally pushes through the last thing he needs to do, Xyrak's still about halfway through the LST run, so about to go do that Masamune check, which we know didn't lead to anything. I think this was a Dragon Whip, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, Dragon Whip from the dragons. So he will know that he has to go back and fight that wyvern.
And in the meantime, Engidave makes Antlion think twice about deciding to not take up their usual residence up on the moon. Instead, try to get some like condo living here in the tower, and now just decided that, you know what, we're gonna tear it all down and try some another time.
I have never thought of the super cannon room as a condo.
Office space?
Do you know, it's been so long since I've seen that movie.
It's got computers, it could be.
Well, we are making the walk back down the Tower of Babel. We will actually go and visit the Kaipo town to use the sand ruby to cure whoever is sleeping in that bed. And then Engidave will be on his way to Z.
It is also very funny to me that we are 2 hours in and finally someone is going to Kaipo.
Yep, no one has gone to Kaipo.
Well, Xyrak's, I guess personal space in the Underworld is just continuing here because that D-Lunar is just not being a nice time either.
Oh, we are corrected. Xyrak did go check Kaipo for exits earlier.
Ooh, okay, well, the joke doesn't stand anymore. Well, I suppose when I try to make jokes against this seed, which is clearly the best comic that we have ever seen, I shouldn't be trying and wasting my time, so...
Just pause this, rewind it, and scratch that joke, y'all. It's fine.
And Engidave now with the crystal, which I'm shocked by. I could have sworn the seed was going to just suddenly give out something completely different, just because. But no, we are finally...
What, a banana? A cantaloupe?
I mean, anything's possible at this point. But no, we are on our way to the pass room to go and finally, mercifully, what? 2 hours have just completely destroyed my brain. Mercilessly getting this seed through.
Oh, man. Words are hard, y'all. They're hard.
And Bardic Panda saying Lobus directed the seed. He must have. We never saw him.
Oh, we didn't see him.
He's got to be in package, right?
He's
no,
either in
there's
package,
also, there's mist or waterfall.
Waterfall, or Sir, not in the seed.
But J-Mac, we're starting to see some flags in the chat.
Oh,
perchance,
yes.
do you know what that means?
I think that this is the final joke of the seed, because the Zeromus boss is just too powerful, too strong, too everything to be moved and randomized. So instead, we like to randomize what clothes he wears. And so we throw out the Regal Z flags as a representation of all that Free Enterprise loves and adores. And there is a question that we like to ask. That's why there's a question mark on these flags. But I don't remember the question. CS Radical, do you remember the question?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it is, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? And is that butt cute? Does it have a butt, for that matter? And is there a hat involved?
Is there a hat, or is it leg?
Well, at this point, I will... You know what? This might be blasphemy to any of my fellow Gaia Hat viewers, but if it is just leg, I will accept no hat. I'll just say it right now. For now,
And Blarg.
Oh. Yeah, that has a butt.
Uh-huh.
Also, hi game that I haven't played in 20 years. Thanks for making me feel old.
What game is this from?
This is Final Fantasy X-2 because this is LeBlanc.
Oh, that's one I haven't played.
AKA
there is a leg.
AKA is what I lovingly refer to as Final Fantasy Charlie's Angels.
Oh.
Fiery Blizzards, that couldn't have been that long. I may be wrong that it's not 20 years, but, you know, I'm super old, so everything feels like 20 years now. For my own curiosity, it's 2003. It's almost 20 years old. There you go.
Oh
Have
my
fun.
gosh.
It's 19 years old.
I mean, to be fair, we are playing a 30-year-old video game right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Xyrak has found his sand ruby and will be returning to Earth momentarily to get his Panbonk pink tail. Oh no, he first has to do the Giant of Babel. I forgot. He still has to do the Giant.
Yeah, there's a lot of grumbling left, especially when he sees what is waiting for him in the Giant. Oh, the frustration that we're probably going to be sensing at this point.
Yes, but it looks like Engidave is doing about 8,000 a round or so should get through the sea fight without any trouble.
Yeah, I mean, even if you come across a pretty rough Big Bang roll, if it's unnerfed, Yang has got so much HP, you're in pretty good shape regardless. You'll have plenty of time to get your white mage back up and functional again.
Well, he is zerked, so it is go for broke time.
I stand corrected. You're just going to keep smacking. And because I can't help myself, Young and Edge at this point are basically walking up to LeBlanc, constantly smacking and asking, what can I do for you? Because I need to put a little bit of a Final Fantasy X-2 pun in there just for the fun of it.
So we will see this Big Bang. It will not be nerfed. And everybody lives, so we are hunky-dory around here.
I am not apologizing, Denari. You can keep that song stuck in your head as long as you want.
And with that crackle and shake, Engidave has gotten through this Z fight and has demolished this seed in 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 30 seconds. Get your GGs out in chat for both Engidave and for Xyrak. Cheer him on as he finishes clearing the rest of this seed. Because man, what a seed this was.
Yeah, they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. I feel like this was a lot of pictures.
It was so many words. And with that sound in our ear, we have been joined by Engidave. GG's, Engidave.
GG's. You know, it's a lot more fun being on your side of Nescrun Seed than this side.
I was about to ask you, don't you wish you were here?
I don't know about you, we had a great time.
Oh yeah, I showed off the entire seed. I'm sure you loved it.
That's not the reason why we're enjoying this. The full clear was not part. I mean, I guess through that it was part of the reason. But no, I'd say. I mean, where do I start? Oh my god. Yeah, that all gauntlet was good. It's great. It must be great having all gauntlet for thinking. Okay, well at least I got to grind in and then go to giant and go. Oh.
I mean, I was down there. I knew I could take both fights, so I figured I'll just go full clear the Feymarch. Happen there was nothing or no key items there, but still the play I'll make every time.
No. There was a moon veil there, I'll have you know.
Moon veil's not a key item.
But you did get an early grind with that alt gauntlet there.
Yeah,
so
that was nice.
That definitely helped.
Honestly, what helped most was that Eblan. Oh, that Eblan.
Yeah. I would say spiking that adamant armor definitely made the difference.
So my plan
between
there,
you and Xyrak.
my plan there was just, okay, it's a hook route. I want Quake on the kid. So I'm gonna hit the 3 traps for treasure, and then what was it? Ninja, Mura, Zeus, Adamant? It's like the seed's telling you, Edge is your carry.
It's like, look, you can get Quake, but...
But do you really need it?
That's honestly why I ditched Palom after getting all the levels on him. Like, no, I'd rather the white mage at that point.
So, overall, we were talking over and over again about how, you know, granted, we know that you were in really good shape, but with the amount of gambles that you took early, especially like taking a look at Sheila 1, taking a look at Harp first, were you feeling really, really behind as the run went on, or were you just sitting there thinking like, no, Xyrak's probably just suffering with the same amount of stuff I am?
I figured Xyrak had to suffer through that CPU as well, so he probably didn't get through that any faster than I did. Because, unless he found a boomerang somewhere, I didn't shop for one.
Well, he never found the admin armor, so no, he suffered way longer than you did.
So I felt good having all the edge gear. But yeah, I was feeling a little nervous after, you know, zonk, 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 zonk on her. And then confused when I looked at the race room at 2:02 as the Z fight was starting and nothing was in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely fun for us to watch you full clear, back and forth, up and down, every which way. You know, we were joking about we need a step counter to see who gets the most steps in for leg day.
Yeah, just add a little FF6 to this. You know, give the step mine ability or traveler depending on which version you're playing.
I mean, the seed really did want you to walk. I mean, it's like, hey, look, let me sell you on this. You're gonna go to the top of tower and then leave. Just to go take something in and walk right back up tower again.
Of course, what else would it do? This seed had some jokes.
It had quite a few.
And then after all that nonsense, go to the giant and free plus free.
I think that's what broke us.
Incidentally, my reset on King Queen was I was on BS6.
Yes. Yes, chat was wondering how many fights it would take you to remember that. So thankfully only one.
We'll call it 1.1. I remember right after getting into the second fight after doing that.
So, I mean, you're now one win away from moving on to the round of 16. You know, I suppose asking you how you feel after this match is kind of silly, because this seed was not really one that you take and be like, all right, I played this really well. This seed was more just like, no. We're just going for jokes on this one. But regardless, how are you feeling after winning the first of games so far?
After that, after the little hiccup at the start where I managed to botch life-locking Ashura, I felt pretty good about the execution, which is about all you can really take away from a seed like this.
Mm-hmm.
And going into the next two games, just gotta hope I don't 20 out of 28 those as well.
Well, I think chat has suggested that Escrunt roll all of your seeds this week. How do you feel about that?
Bring it on, Escrunt. Show me what you can do.
I mean, do we ask the question, can it get much worse? I mean, I know the answer is yes, but, you know.
Never ask that question. Never ask that question. You've seen enough movies to know to never ask that question.
Well, do you have any final thoughts about the seed, or and kind of just let us know when your next match is too?
So our next match is scheduled for tomorrow at 8, or 8 Eastern, and Game 3, hopefully not needed, is on Friday at 8.
Okay. Well, we definitely look forward to watching you two race again, because if it's anything like today, it's going to be a heck of a good time.
Look, I think we can. Fun. I think we can sell the Engidave and Xyrak comedy show pretty well after this race.
Hey, if I do nothing else right, I'll take comedy.
Well, I mean, you took the win too, so you know, to be a comedian and get the win regardless, that's just everything you could ever ask for tonight.
That's asking way too much.
Well, at the very least, you got stories to tell next time you're on comms. So, and probably just because the seed isn't done joking, the seed that you'll end up commentating next will be like one of the most generous seeds we'll ever see.
Yeah, just like an hour 10 super jet or something.
Exactly.
Well, GG's, Engidave. I hope that you go and get some treat or a dessert or something, or do something after that seed, because you deserve it.
Oh, I got up and stretched and forgot to clear the Z-text. That's why it stayed on screen so long. Hey, Xyrak's on Cat Claws. Where were they?
In one of the Overworld shops, because Xyrak did not take Tella, so he had to go shopping for exits.
Well, if it's an Overworld shop, it had to be Baron. That's the only
one.
Oh,
no. It was in Feymarch. I lied. It was in Feymarch.
Well, I would like to thank you, J-Mac, and CS Radical for commentating the seed and having all the fun here. Barty Panda for pushing the buttons, Escrunt for rolling this lovely dumpster fire. I can't do the show without all of you.
Well, thank you. And thank you for putting on a fantastic show for us tonight. And I hope you have a good night and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, that was Engidave, and we have Xyrak headed into his Z fight. So, considering all of the troubles and the back and forth, Xyrak is only going to finish, it looks like, about 12 minutes or so behind, which is definitely not terrible for this seed.
Yeah, and I mean, in a lot of cases we've seen in matches that when you see the other opponent just finish, you're almost kind of like, all right, maybe that's it. Xyrak, I'm not surprised that this is still going, because there is some venting and frustration that needs to be carried out in the Z fight. So, this is just pure retribution now. And you know, at the very least, we do get some extra leg to add into the rest of this glorious, glorious seed. So,
Oh, for sure. But just like Engidave's, we're going to see this one being very, very straightforward. A couple of Bacchus wines, Zerking, and Edge and Yang are just going to pretty much just get rid of this LeBonkmas here. So, should be very, very quick.
and even safer because Rosa's basically safe from Big Bangs too. So there is legitimately no stress in this fight. All the stress is long past Xyrak at this point.
Yep, he is even higher in experience and levels than Engidave was going into this fight.
Although with only one adamant armor, I'm not sure if that means the damage rolls are going to be higher because only one of them is getting that 15 strength boost. Although I assume Yang still has a black belt on. I haven't been paying attention to that, so at least you're still getting a good chunk.
Yeah, he's rolling about 8,000 damage as well, which I think Engidave ended up averaging about 8,500 or so. So it's not too terribly far off.
Yeah, either way, the stress is not happening here. You're coasting. At this point, Xyrak's just kind of stretching out and just lamenting off of everything that he's dealt with in the past 2 hours and almost 20 minutes now, so...
But I know that this Z-Fight defeat will be a very big relief for Xyrak, who finished this heck of a seed with grace and a little bit of retribution, I have a feeling.
Yeah, we're going to be hopefully getting an interview with Xyrak and just opening the floor and just be like, look, you got it. It's yours. And I don't think any of us would blame.
Oh, no, not at all. Ooh, yeah, those big bangs just tickled.
Yeah, you're just giggling. You're Pillsbury doughboying those big bangs right now.
Which is so perfect and fitting for the ending of this scene, let me tell you.
Yeah, after all the frustration, the Z-Fight is like possibly the easiest thing you did.
I don't know. I still think the giant was like, what?
All right. Fair.
And with that snap, crackle, and pop, we have Xyrak finishing in 2 hours, 18 minutes, and 54 seconds. And he has joined us in the booth. GG's Xyrak.
Thank you, GG's to Dave as well.
So, how are you feeling after that heck of a seed?
I mean, a little disappointed, but I don't know, not too bad overall. It's definitely a long one, but...
Well, it's definitely a seed that, other than, at least giving you an edge early enough and giving you at least a little bit of equipment, and a hookup that honestly wasn't too bad. In terms of just, overall key item checks, it was not being generous at all. Throughout the entire run, popping up a lot of empties. How are you feeling as it kept going on with just, especially with the moon checks coming later in the game, and a lot of them just basically being completely useless?
Yeah, that was the rough part. I basically spent the last, other than Z, I spent the last 10 minutes of the Z just popping the last 4 objectives that I had left to do. So everything came late. I mean, that's okay. I mean, if it comes, that setup, it's going to be hard for everything to come easy for one racer and not so easy for the other. So, Dave had to go through the same sort of rigmarole that I did. I honestly don't even think the seed was all that bad. I mean, if you make the play to check Giant early, you just get all your levels for nothing. And I considered doing it. I just decided against it. And further and further you go through the seed, the tougher bosses start getting checked off. And you're like, there's a really good chance it's at least one free fight on the Giant. And it turns out, get Yang to 2,000 HP and they're both free. So...
Well, I mean, I don't think we blame you for checking Giant, because who would have assumed it would have been basically the freest Giant I think I've ever seen?
Yeah, I mean, you would have had to get enough levels on Yang to survive the Dark Cecil fight, but beyond that, yeah, I mean, completely free. It would have just been a huge chunk of experience, would have cut out the grinds. And yeah, I mean, My execution's not where I normally would like it to be. I felt like I got unlucky on a couple of fights here and there, where most of the time I probably shouldn't have to take a reset there, and this time I did, unfortunately. So that was a little grating. I know now that there was an adamant armor in Eblan that I missed, and that's, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
adamant armor is a game changer. I didn't have it. So.
That was the difference maker, I think, especially once you both got underground. You were pretty much neck and neck, tie for tie. What bosses you struggled with, Engidave struggled with. Like, you both wiped to that Ashura really early. So, like, it was a lot of, y'all were pretty neck and neck at that point, but he had just found that adamant and was able to kind of speed through a lot of things quicker.
Right. Yeah. The not getting... Were exits somewhere that I saw and didn't remember?
I don't recall seeing them in a shop, but I wasn't really looking for them until we realized you were looking for them. So
yeah, that was yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if being able to dive the moon earlier than I did would have made any kind of material difference, but that was really disappointing when I was basically forced to clean up the stuff in the overworld I was trying to skip because I wanted to get the stuff that I needed the black mage for out of the way so I could dump them from the Tella, and yeah, none of it wound up mattering. So that was at the point where I was like, I basically feel like I'm racing against somebody who forgot to do something, basically, and Dave didn't. So
yeah, no, it's just a matter of the seed being like, no, this we're going 2 hours. I don't care.
Yeah, the routing was pretty bad in terms of just where y'all ended up going. I really did love you going ahead and doing that keyless tower check when you did, just because you were already back down on Earth, and I was really, really hoping that was just going to lead to the chain of the rest of them.
Yeah, it was required to do that, but yeah, unfortunately, just kind of cut off a little bit. Little unfortunate, but...
Yeah, the hope that we were thinking during that is like, okay, if at the very least you get Pigtail through that super cannon spot, you're in a much better spot. You got your adamant armor going into the moon, where you'll definitely get through that a lot faster, but no, it decided, hey, I think you really want Spoon. So it's just kind of unfortunate that that's just how the seed decided to go. It really did seem like the seed, every single time we were seeing both you and Engidave starting to make progress, it just cut it down every single time. So, you know, it's one of those seeds that in the end, like, we look at both of you guys, how you played, and went, look, you all executed really, really well. Just the seed was having none of it.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, basically every play I made did. Like, I felt great coming out of Eblan with the Murasame and a Zeus Gauntlet. I was like, all right, this edge is, like, not useless. Like, little do I know I'm leaving an adamant armor somewhere in the other half of it somewhere. Like, I felt great. I was like, yeah, but, you know, so yeah, like you said, the seed just had other ideas for me, so hopefully tomorrow's is better.
Yeah, and I know that it feels disappointing, but you really did execute just as well, and it just didn't work out in your favor tonight, but hopefully tomorrow's will swing your way, and then we can have a third match and see y'all two race. It was a lot of fun to watch you two race tonight.
Glad it was. Thanks to both of you and to the Restream folks for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Good luck tomorrow, and GG's for a really, really well-run race tonight.
Thanks again.
And with that, that wraps up our race here on Free Enterprise. But do not fear, we are going to be raiding over to Free Enterprise 2, where we currently have Flurry versus Pancraz happening. And we are in the middle of that one, but we will kind of join in. But please remember that there are no spoilers on this race, because this is definitely a race that people are going to want to watch and come back and watch. So no spoilers, and you get the newspaper. So I'd just like to go ahead and thank our restreamer S Grunt for rolling this great seed, and our Tracker, oh my gosh, can't think. Our tracker, Bardic Panda, for having to light up every single button on the board. And thank you to my co-commentator, CS Radical. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being in the booth with you tonight.
It was a fantastic run. I think we both definitely need a break to let our minds kind of refresh, because that was a seed. And I can only imagine how the rest of the bracket stage is going to go if we get seeds like this. I cannot wait for the next race I get to see, especially in the booth, where I hope for something even remotely close as fun as this one was.
Yes, so I hope y'all will stay with us as we raid Free Enterprise 2, and hope y'all have a great night, and we will see you back tomorrow with Game 2 of Engidave versus Xyrak.